And you got the hunting thing going on. We know that. I grew up on hunting. I'll tell you what, Fred Bear, my dad listens to that song every time before he goes out into the backwoods of southwest Michigan. So,
you know, Kevin, I get emails every day. In fact, you go to tednugent.com. You'll see the tsunami of celebration that happens every day. And of all my songs, I know Stranglehold is the coolest guitar lick in the history of the world. I know that Stranglehold and Cat Scratch Fever and Wang Dang Sweet Poontang and Wango Tango and Hey Baby and even Love Grenade from my record just a couple years ago. You listen to that Love Grenade guitar intro, there's just nothing like it in the history of guitar playing. I couldn't be more proud, more sure of that. But what you see at my website is more references to Fred Bear than any other song. And the beauty of it is that the music industry doesn't even know the Fred Bear song exists unless you really are a music lover and you really are an absolute American dream celebrant. So I know that Fred Bear is in more pickup truck cassette players and CD players than any music in the world, and that Fred Bear has been voted the #1 song for 21 years in a row in Michigan and Wisconsin is probably my most proud musical statement in my entire career.
I can honestly say when I bought my first Gibson guitar at my hometown, Kalamazoo, Michigan, home of the Gibson baby. Guitar, Fred Bear was one of the first licks that I tried to learn.
It's a great lick, isn't it?
It is great.
Now I got to ask you, Kevin, out there in the wilds of Palm Springs, do you guys play that Fred Bear song?
I'll tell you what, I'm going to be playing it in a couple seconds.
Good for you, man. I want, and I just so thank the defiant radio people in Michigan and Wisconsin. Now it's spreading. It doesn't matter what state we play the Fred Bear song in. It has spread since the 21 years ago that song came pouring out of my heart for a man that I love so dearly. And I only made 2 cassettes, one for his widow Henrietta and one for myself. But more and more of the Fred Bear family wanted copies of it. I made copies, and someone snuck it to Doug Podell. And Doug played it, felt the spirit of that song, and felt the spirit of the great man, Fred Bear, and the rest is history, as they say. So thank you for playing it. I'm sure it will connect with a lot of working hard, playing hard blood brothers out there in your neck of the woods.
Well, it's different than in Kalamazoo. On opening day in Kalamazoo, on the radio, I think I played that song 3 times.
Well,
in a 5-hour shift.
All my buddies in Michigan radio, which I do interviews in Michigan radio all the time, and they all are rather frustrated because they say, we can't possibly play Fred Bear every time it's requested, or it's the only song we'd play. So not only during the hunting season is it demanded on the air every hour, but it really is connected with people. And even if you don't know who Fred Bear was, even though he was one of the most visionary conservation heroes in the history of America, and he reinvigorated the bow hunting lifestyle to aim small, miss small, and be more aware of our surroundings and be more accountable in how we conduct ourselves in the great sacred life provider of nature. But Fred Bear was a great gentleman, and when you hear the song, it doesn't matter whether you understand hunting, whether you support hunting, whether you're an actual hunter or not, but the music, you can tell there's a fire and a passion and an emotion for my love for this great man after he passed away in 1988 that is universally embraced by everybody with soul and spirit out there. And again, I cannot express my appreciation adequately.
This is Ted Nugent tonight at the show inside the Agua Caliente Casino. We've touched on hunting. We've touched on pretty much everything else. You've got some songs in Guitar Hero. Ted, are you any good at the game?
I can't do stuff where you got to push buttons. I'm lucky I can turn my damn laptop on. No, I can't do that stuff. But when it comes to playing the guitar, I'm doing just fine.
Exactly. I play guitar, and not as well as you, of course, but I can't play the game either.
Yeah, it's strange. I'm not good on electronic stuff. I'm really good with machine guns, guitars, wood chippers, and crowbars, and cheerleaders.
Well, one of the things that stick out from the shows I've seen was you brought, I think it was an AK-47 on stage, and you said you were going to take it to Washington, D.C., and tell Hillary Clinton to suck on this, you blanking blank.
Are you sure that was me? You sure that wasn't Tom Petty?
That was you.
No, that was me, wasn't it?
It was one of the best times of my life, and the crowd in Detroit, Michigan just went crazy when you said that.
Well, because the bureaucrats are so corrupt. Hillary Clinton and Barack Hussein Obama and the entire Mao Zedong fan club in the White House are so corrupt. They are abusing power like never before in the history of America. We, the people, are fed up with it. And we're going to vote these punks out of office in November and hopefully every election coming up, because the flagrant and arrogant dismissal of we the people by these soulless, arrogant, just rotten, soulless bastards in politics. They need to get their asses handed to them, and I think we, the people, are just the ones to do so.
Now, is that the type of stuff we can read about in Ted White and Blue, the Nugent Manifesto?
Well, my American dream is perfect. It really is. We all have roller coaster rides in life. That's how the imperfect human species functions. And I'm a perfect, imperfect human being, and that's how I function. But I learn from my mistakes. And I think the reason God, Guns, and Rock and Roll was the New York Times bestseller, and Ted White and Blue, the Nugent Manifesto, is also a New York Times bestseller. It's out in paperback now, is because if America and Americans conducted their lives the way the Nugent family does, save money, spend intelligently and responsibly, get up early and work as hard as you possibly can, put your heart and soul into being the best that you can possibly be, only putting good quality rocket fuel into your sacred temple, not budgeting poisons to destroy your health, and then whine that you need health care. I mean, what I've outlined in Ted White and Blue, the Nugent Manifesto, is so simple. It's so pragmatic. It's so guaranteed to bring quality of life that more and more Americans are waking up to. I think that's why it's become so successful. And if you go to tednugent.com, Kevin, you'll see the thousands of articles I've written. I do a weekly feature for WashingtonTimes.com and for HumanEvents.com. And if you go to my website, you'll see the pieces I've wrote, award-winning pieces for USA Today, the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, and magazines and newspapers all across the country. Bottom line is, I've spent a lot of time with heroes of the U.S. military who have had their eyes and their legs and their brains blown out. And they volunteered to fight evil to make us safe here in America and around the world. And I am so humbled by the incredible superiority of these American military warriors that I am driven to put my heart and soul into using the freedoms that they have sacrificed so much to provide to be the best that I can be. And that's really the way the Nugent family, my children, my grandchildren, my wife Shemaine, my band, my crew, my hunting guides, all my hunting buddies, everybody I know, Kevin, conducts themselves in an aggressively productive, conscientious manner. The alternative is for chimps. The alternative is for punks and bloodsuckers that vote for Barack Hussein Obama so they can get something for doing nothing. Here's an alert from Ted Nugent, idiots. Nothing is free. It's got a price tag, and I'm about sick and tired of paying for your slovenly, gluttony, irresponsible, punk criminal behavior.
That's Ted Nugent.
That's where they deserve you.
That's Ted Nugent right there tonight at the show inside the Agua Caliente Casino.
Muy caliente, tengo huevos de toro.
Ted, we're looking forward to seeing some Birdlands on stage tonight.
Birdlands will eat your face, and you'll say, thank you, Uncle Ted. It's going to be the greatest show. Mick Brown on drums, Greg Smith on the bass guitar, Gods of Thunder. Trample the weak, hurdle the dead. Let's rip.
Ted, we'll see you tonight.
Oh, man, live it up, Kevin. Godspeed.